Welcome back to the Untouchaballs podcast. Caden and Evan here. Evan, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great, Caden. How about yourself?
I'm doing great too because the day you guys are seeing this on Thursday, it's opening day for real. Not really counting those two Tokyo games. It's opening day. Baseball's back. Let's get ready for that long 162 stretch.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so, yeah, on today's episode, it's a kind of a recurring thing we've been doing at the start of these seasons. You saw before the start of the NFL season, and again at the start of the NBA season. This is a stock market episode of ours where are going to be giving you players and teams that we think are either trending up or trending down going into the start of this 2025 Major League Baseball season. So we are going to start off today with the teams. Teams either you can go back and forth, Dwyer. It doesn't have to be the same up or down. We're just going to go through a couple teams we are either high on or low on going into the season.
Yeah, I'm stoked. Let's roll.
Well, let's hear you kick us off, Dwyer.
All right. Well, I'm gonna start off with a team that I think I've gotten higher on in like the past couple of weeks. And that's the Detroit Tigers. You look at this team's rotation, you're like, holy crap! Like it could be one of the best in the MLB. I mean, obviously you got the reigning Cy Young, Turek Skubal at the top of your rotation. It's great. You go out and sign Jack Flaherty. Had a tremendous year last year. I mean, people were talking about a Reese Olson breakout. So then that's three right there. And you talk about Jackson Jobe, one of the top pitching prospects in baseball. And you're like, okay, that's four. And then you look like that even that five spot. Like I know Kenta Maeda hasn't been great over his career, but he's had a great spring. But then you say Casey Mize had a great spring, former first overall pick. They just have a lot of options. That Montero, he had a couple good games that in the postseason he pitched, I believe. So they just have a lot of options, and they're really deep in that position. I mean, the bats for the Tigers are going to be interesting. I don't think that they have a very deep lineup at all. I think for them to really break out, it's going to really have to take one guy. One of the players I'm going to talk about later, but you just really look at their lineup, and there are some injuries. They don't have Vierling going into the year. They're missing somebody else too, but a team with a Javier Baez is going to be in that lineup. It's just not going to be what you want necessarily. Um,
There's no way we see Javi getting any run.
I heard today they're talking about playing him in center field because they lost somebody out there.
Oh, they
Um,
lost Meadows?
yeah, Meadows. Yes, Meadows. So he might be getting some run-ins at center field.
Oh no.
Yeah, there's a little. Yeah, so that's a little scary for me. But I mean, Gilbert Torres is a nice little pickup, I think, for them. I mean, Torkelson, we'll see. He's, it's more of a hope than anything at this point. I think more of him, but
I mean, how much is he really going to play though with Cole Keith
Cole
being their
Keith.
everyday first baseman and Glaber now at second?
Yeah, so he's gonna have to win over that DH job. So yeah, lineup I think is really middle of the pack, but with their pitching and if they get hot, maybe trade for a bat or two. I think they could be a really I think they could go win this AL Central. I could see it pretty they could do it pretty handedly if they could. Bold prediction.
Hey, that's what we're here for. Your bold prediction. You can see the Tigers winning the Central. If we go back to our over under video, I took the under on the Tigers wins. I like what you're saying about the rotation. I really like what we could possibly see this year out of Reese Olson kind of going into a breakout type of pitcher or Jackson Jobe, a flamethrowing rookie who's been looking filthy this spring as well. That the lineup it just isn't good besides a Riley Green and Kerry Carpenter. Like you've seen a little bit out of Parker Meadows when he plays, but he's seems always injured. We don't know really about Jace Jung, Colt Keith, or I mean, even Matt Vierling was nice last year, but you can't really expect him to do that every time. I don't see the enough power in that offense to be able to keep up with even the stifled bats that the Tigers will give up.
That's true. I'll give you that. I definitely think their bats are definitely a work in progress, and they have prospects like Max Clark and Kevin McGonigal on the way. Probably not this year, but like probably by 2026 or 2027. But still, again, with that, I think they could have honestly the best rotation in baseball. If we're talking about all said and done this year, so we'll see.
The rotation is, I think, I'm with you on that. I think it could be one of, if not the best rotations in baseball. Now, a team that I am high on going into this year is actually, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a team we're both high on. Love the offseason. They made a lot of great moves. It's the Boston Red Sox. I think they are in store for a great season. Now, when we've been seeing a lot of these injuries to the Yankees, Garrett Cole, obviously with the TJ, Luis Heel missing probably 3 months, Stan, who knows really how long he's going to miss. And they're losing all those already. The rotation now isn't good. You're relying more on a Rodon Freed. That I think the Red Sox could come in and win the division this year. When we go and look at when me and Dwyer did our standings and playoff predictions, I thought the Red Sox were a team that was going to make the ALCS right here. I think this team trading for Garrett Crochet to be your true ace of your staff to go along with a Tanner Howe, Brian Bayo, or Garrett Whitlock, just some of these other arms that they have that you could see maybe even taking a bigger step forward. Can Tanner Houck get a little better, even better than he was last year? I think he can take another step as well. I think the Red Sox are in store for a very good season, as well as adding Bregman to that lineup. He's going to mash there at Fenway.
Oh yeah, I mean they're so deep. I think it was. I was honestly a little shocked that Christian Campbell made the opening day lineup. Like I was like, or like
Yeah.
opening day roster. Like because he didn't really kill it in spring at all, and like he was kind of like a borderline maybe. Um, but like you said, like yeah, they're just. I think bringing in Crochet just with already that rotation. I mean, like we've talked about before. Like we'll see what happens with the bullpen. But like you could go trade for bullpen. That's not something that's like, and they have the farm system to do it. They have so many
Yeah.
guys.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I think the Red Sox are going to be one of those teams where like we'll be talking about them for the next decade. Every year.
See, I'm glad we see eye to eye on this because their farm system stacked. They have a good rotation now, and they already good lineup got better.
Man, they're young too. They're pretty young.
Yeah.
So I thought bringing Bregman was a great move. So, um, anything else you want to say about the Red Sox?
That is my whole piece on the Red Sox and why they are going to be a very good baseball team this year.
Alrighty. So my next team, I'm not going so high on like playoff, like let's go win it things. We could do that, but I want to talk about this team because they don't get love like that. I want to talk about I guess would they be the Sacramento or Las Vegas A's? So I want to talk about them.
Hell yeah.
Not necessarily like I don't think they're going to go out and be a 90 win ball club by any means, but I think they're going to
They
take
could sneak into the
pretty
wild
high
card.
step up. They could. I really really like this lineup, Caden. I mean, you talk about Brent Rooker, how good of a year he had in the Coliseum last year, and now he's gonna be going and playing in a minor league park. Like he might hit 50 bombs this year. He literally could. Um, you talk about Lawrence Butler. He had almost a 2020 year last year. He could probably take a step up after having a full year in the bigs like last year. Huge, young super rising star, I think, in the league. You talk about their shortstop this year, Jacob Wilson. Hit 400 in the minor in AAA last year. 400. That's one of the highest what's it called? Hit grade contacts or in the hit grade in the minor leagues last year. I think he's a guy that like he's also showing it in the spring. I think he has 4 home runs. Like he never really flashed the power like that, but in a minor league ballpark, you might see him hit a little bit more. Like I think he could be a dark horse, like rookie of the year candidate this year. Really. I think I like the Tyler Soderstrom. I think he could have an interesting year. Obviously, they still got Shane Langoliers. Nick Kurtz is coming up. People think he was one of the best bats in the draft coming up into the end of the year. He should be up probably summertime this year at some point. And still, I mean, they still got like JJ Bleday could hit pretty well. I think it's really deep. And I thought even with their pitching's interesting, but I think bringing Luis Severino is interesting. I don't like hate that. I think it was a decent signing. The one I really like, though, I really like Jeffrey Springs. I mean, when this
Thank
guy's
you.
healthy, he shoves. When he's healthy, he shoves. Um, is the ballpark a little worrisome? Sure, but like he's so good. What was it? I believe 2 years ago he had like a two something ERA. I got to look that up again, but um, he's fully healthy now. He's only 32. Like I think this A's team could be something like you said. I think it could be like a wild card team, but just from the step from last year to this year, I think could be very very big.
100% agree with everything you said there. I think the A's, just like you said, are going to be a fun, frisky team. Maybe be flirting with a wild card spot come August. Their lineup, everything you said. Yeah, Rooker, top two DH, top two, top three DH in the league. Lawrence Butler had a great kind of breakout last year. Got an extension. Looking like he's someone who can build on that. Blade, I think, can build on what he did last year. And thank you for bringing up Jeffrey Springs. I thought that was a great move by the Athletics this offseason to get him in there. Is what you all say. He's a kind of a premier pitcher when healthy, and you're going to see him back healthy. And also in that bullpen, they have just, one of the best closers in the league in Mason Miller to lock it down.
Yeah.
So do you have a lineup that's going to, and at least in our eyes, probably rake a good bit, and you can get to the back end of that bullpen. Mason Miller is right there to shut it down.
Yeah, yeah, he is. Yes, he is.
We've been talking a lot of highs. I'm gonna go to a team that I am very low on, and I know this team's going to be bad, but I'm really mentioning this because of a bet I did on DraftKings for this, where I picked the Miami Marlins to have the least amount of regular season wins this year. It's plus 650. Your White Sox,
Really?
yeah. Oh, dude, insane value for this because your White Sox are the favorite and they're minus money. And then it's my Rockies at like plus 235. And then it's the Marlins at plus 650.
That feels really like that's a lock. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah. Because think about it this way, the White Sox, yes, they're awful. They don't have many, if even really one MLB caliber player actually starting on their team. But their division isn't that great. They're going to be able to pick up wins over the Tigers, Royals, Twins, Guardians throughout the season, while the Marlins, it's going to be very tough for them to find times to pick up wins, except for maybe when they play the White Sox, where you're playing the Braves, who could be a 90 plus win team, the Phillies, who could be a 90 plus win team, and the Mets, who also could be a 90 plus win team. You're playing them so much, and the Rockies, they're going to be bad. I know they're going to be bad. They're not going to be like historically bad, which I think the Marlins can be. I think the Marlins might lose 110, 115 games this year. I think they're going to be horrendous, and they'll probably trade off Sandy, so they'll get even worse around the deadline, and it's just going to be all downhill from there. The
Oh, they will
Marlins,
trade Sandy. They will trade
they,
Sandy.
oh, they're going to trade Sandy. It seems like a given they're going to trade Sandy. And when that happens, this team's going to get even worse than it already is. And they're going to lose, yeah, like 110, 115 games. Going to be the most in the MLB. Marlins plus 650.
I love that bet a lot. Kate, answer me this question. Can you name me the starting lineup for the Marlins going into the year?
Okay, okay. I know they got Xavier Edwards on there.
Yeah, that's the easy one.
Yeah, oh yeah, okay. I know Sandy's probably the opening day starter.
Okay.
Oh, yep. Okay. I can picture some of them. Oh, dude, don't are they? Is Augustine Ramirez going to be the catcher?
I have no clue. I honestly, Kate, I don't know. I'm just trying to prove a point. I know they got
I
Jesus
thought you pulled
Sanchez.
up their lineup.
I know Griffin Conine is in there. Like it's so
Different
bad.
kind of,
You
yeah.
know, like
That's awful.
everybody talks about the White Sox. It's like I think this Marlins really could legitimately be horrible. So 650, I think that's a great future bet. But yeah, but I'm 100% with you in that division. I think they could be bad. I mean, like if a team could push the White Sox record last year, which would be insane, it would be this
This year's
Marlins.
Marlins.
It really could be. It literally could happen. Um, so I do like that pick a lot. I really do. Team I'm not the highest on. Not necessarily like I think it'll be awful, but team I'm just not high on personally is the Astros. Um, see, I like lineup still pretty good. They had a good lineup last year though too. They didn't fix the pitching at all. I know we took their under in the in the over unders podcast. It's just they didn't help fix their pitching at all. Like I get Lance McCullers coming back. We can't really like expect him to come back and be this dominant pitcher. And that was their whole thing last year. They didn't have any pitching. Um, I mean, yeah, you still got like Josh Hader back in the pen and stuff, but like, you mean I think Framber could be interesting. Obviously, he's in a free agent year. He's in a walk year, so like he's obviously gonna try and pitch his heart out. But I think a lot could go wrong for this Astros team, and they're just their lack of like you know doing anything with the starting pitching. I mean, I'm not a big Spencer Aaron Getty guy. I mean, he's young. He could be interesting. Could be frisky, but there's not a lot of depth, and there's not really a high either here. Like I like Framber a lot, but like I don't think he's not in that tier of like dominant stars. He's like an elite two kind of tier, like an Aaron Nola tier to me. So
Actually, okay. Like I think Framber's probably in that top 20 conversation for best
yeah,
starting pitchers in the league. Framber's going to be, I think, great. He's going to be the best probably person on that its entire staff. Then you look at the lineup. Obviously, Jordan's going to rake. Uh, Yiner Diaz, I'd assume, is going to rake. Altuve, it seems like we might be starting to see the decline in his game. It's going to be weird also seeing him in left. And even have Altuve in left, have him at second. That three players of but three of the four between the three outfielders and the second baseman, minus whichever one Altuve's playing. That is one of the worst three-man combinations in the entire MLB. You're gonna have Mauricio
starting
Dubon,
outfield.
Ch- Chaz McCormick, and I don't. I'm drawing a blank
Cam
on the
Smith.
others.
Cam Smith. He made the opening day roster. He's a starting right
I
fielder
did see
going into
Cam
the year.
Smith. Okay,
I like
that
that. I do
that
like
helps a
that for
little
the
bit.
Astros. It's
That
gonna
does
be
help a little bit.
gutsy. It's gutsy, but I like it. I do like the Astros doing that. Let the young kids
I
play.
like Astros doing that, but also I'm with you. I'm not. I didn't even have them actually making the playoffs in our uh, playoff prediction episode.
Mm.
I'm gonna stay low with you. I'm throw out another team that I'm just not high on this year, and then see if you have anything else on these. So the other team I am down on going to this season, and that's the Seattle Mariners. I think they are going to actually finish fourth in the AL West, only above the Angels, but behind the Athletics. Because while I think as of right now they are the best 1 through 5 starting rotation in Major League Baseball with Kirby, Castillo, Gilbert, Bryce Miller, and Brian Wu. I think that is the best 1 through 5 you can have in the league right now. I think the only kind of rival is the Phillies. That I think that rotation is going to be able to keep them in a lot of games, especially when you're playing at T-Mobile, which is one of the most pitcher-friendly ballparks, or it is the most pitcher-friendly ballpark in all of Major League Baseball. Well, I think they're like I love their starting staff. I think they're going to shine. All five of them could find their way to the All-Star team this year, and I wouldn't be surprised. But then you look at their lineup, where I think Cal Raleigh is awesome, probably the second best catcher in baseball. Julio is a good second half player because he doesn't know how to play the first couple months of the year. Other than that, this lineup doesn't have anything. You thought maybe they'd go out in the offseason, try to get a bat to fill one of the worst lineups in baseball. And what do? You bring back Jorge Polanco, coming off the worst year of his career. So that's a good signing. So now you're relying on Polanco again. Luke Rayleigh, he's actually not bad, but nothing special.
Yeah, that shouldn't
And
be your
just
big guy you bring in. You know, it shouldn't be. You know.
like reportedly they were offered Casas and Yoshida for one of their five starting pitchers, and the Mariners said no. Don't really understand that when you're so plentiful on starting pitchers and you're so clearly lacking offensive production that you'd pass up two very quality bats.
Yeah. Um, I think like especially you look at pitching too. Like pitching isn't as like you don't have that long of a window compared to hitters. You know what I mean? Like how much longer is Castillo going to be down? You know, like you said, like that should have been like an easy, you know, underhand lob. You know, um, I mean they're kind of like the Astros. Like the Astros didn't do anything towards their pitching, just bolstered. You know, just kept their hitters. Seattle didn't want to do anything with their hitters at all. You know, like I don't know how you could expect this team to go out and like, oh yeah, we're just gonna hit good this year. You know, like that. If it was that easy, it'd be nice. I think I've said before in the podcast. I think they're the losers of the off season, honestly. Um, because
Them or the
man,
Orioles.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, at least the Orioles, what they have going for them is at least they're young. You know, like they have.
Mhm.
We're like, yes, they have young pieces with the Mariners, but like again, I just don't. Pitchers don't last. You know, like I just don't. You know, like it's hard to like year after year just keep like that's like we're like I think the Astros or the Orioles they could just last longer. You know, between Holiday, Garner, these guys are going to be generational guys every year where we could see a TJ or something from one of those pitchers. You know.
Yeah, no, for sure. I get everything you're saying there.
But yeah, any other teams you want to talk about, or you want to go to players?
I'm all good on teams if you are, Dwyer.
All right. You want me to kick it off? You want to kick it off for players we like?
I'll kick it out with players I like because it ties into the team I was just talking about with the Mariners, where a player I like a lot going into this season is the ace of this Mariners staff, Logan Gilbert. I think he is in for what could be a Cy Young winning season. I'm looking at his odds right now. He's plus 1100 to win the AL Cy Young right now behind Scooble, who's the favorite, then Crochet and my boy Cole Reagans. But then it's Logan Gilbert, who is a very tall pitcher, and because of that, has one of the best extensions in the bigs. One of the best extensions out of any pitcher in the bigs. He has a good fastball, a good ride. His breaking balls are a plus slider, a good curveball, and he has pinpoint location, doesn't walk anyone. I think this is a like we already saw like basically the breakout of Logan Gilbert last year. I think this is the true breakout we see from Gilbert this year, kind of like what we saw with Scooble last year.
For sure. Yeah, he's young too. He's like 25, 26, somewhere
I
around
believe
there.
he's 20, yeah, one of those two.
So yeah, like this is kind of like he's getting into his, starting to find his groove in his prime years. But yeah, like you said before with the ballpark and everything, I think there's a lot to really like here. Um, and yeah, like you said, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. Like he wouldn't shock me if he goes out and wins the Cy Young this year. Like he definitely he's the capability of going to do that. And obviously the odds are showing that. So um, yeah, I'm a big Logan Gilbert guy too. So
Hey, do I,
what do you
all I
think?
gotta say is, but before me and Stoner called Trey Scooble to win the Cy Young last year, his odds were plus 1100. Is that a sign that Logan Gilbert is your
Mm,
2025 AL Cy Young winner?
that's frisky, Caden. Maybe that's maybe.
Hopefully.
Yeah, yeah.
Got him a
Um,
fantasy baby.
you picked him. Yeah,
Yeah, I
sweet.
did.
He's good. Yeah, yeah. um, a player I'm big on this year. Um, honestly, I think he could be. You talk about like fantasy baseball drafts and stuff. I think he might be a top five pick come 2026. His name. Well, I'll start off with this. He just turned 21 years old. I'm all in on Jackson Curio this year, having a full on breakout. Um, I mean, he showed how he was insane the second half of last year, and like though I'm not the biggest believer in spring training stats, I don't think is the whole thing, but pretty much 50 at bats, he hit 470 with six stolen bases, a 1200 OPS. Like I think like we want to talk about like he'd be a 30-30 guy. Like this might be a 40-40 guy eventually. But I think he might legitimately be like the next like crop of like the Acuñas, the Trouts. Like I think he kind of flashed it last year, but like this could be his full on just breakout year, especially in that division too. Honestly, it was not like sucks against the Pirates, but like I mean playing in Wrigley and Great American Ballpark, like I think he might be nuts this year.
That is a pick that I love hearing from you because I'm with you. I don't think we're going to see someone like Jackson Churio suffer from like the sophomore slump that we see a lot of these second year players succumb to. I think we're going to see an even bigger step for Churio going into the season where he really becomes one of these like household names in the sport.
Yeah,
Now I want to talk about I'm gonna stick to the player as that I'm high on going into this year before we go to the lowlier part of the spectrum, where and another pitcher that I'm very high on going to this year is Atlanta Braves second year starting pitcher Spencer Schwellenbach, the player you not only thefted from me in fantasy, but also in our Cy Young draft, just stealing him away from me. Because I think Spencer Schwellenbach could realistically and easily be in the Cy Young conversation throughout this entire season in the National League, where he throws like six pitches, has good control on each of them, is able to get good break with all them, good velocity, is good command. Everything you want to see out of a pitcher in today's day and age, he has it. Plus, he has extra pitches with pinpoint command. He strikes out players at a very good rate, limits hard hit, limits hard contact, and doesn't walk many batters. I think we this is the true breakout of Spencer Schwellenbach, where he will be competing for the NL Cy Young.
yeah, I think you hit on the head. I would have stolen from you in both drafts if I wasn't as high on Spellenbach as you are. Um, like you said, I mean, he kind of came out of nowhere too. He wasn't a high prospect or anything, but man, that second half was something special, and he's shown in spring he's just as dominant. So, um, like you said, I really hope he ends up being in the Cy Young conversations. Pretty please. Um, yeah, but my other guy I'm really high on this year from the Detroit Tigers is Kerry Carpenter. Um, you look at what he did last year in 87 games, and it was just insane. And he had 18 bombs, 57 RBIs, the 284 average. But then you look, he had over a 900 OPS, he had 932 OPS, and he was a 159 OPS plus hitter. Um, and you're just like, wow, that's insane. And like, obviously, everyone knows the knock on Kerry Carpenter. He doesn't hit against lefties. Well, now with all these injuries, AJ Hinch said that he's gonna be hitting against lefties this year. So it's gonna be a big test. I think even if he doesn't hit against lefties, how good he hits against righties, I think this guy's got 30 home run potential. Like, I mean, you're talking like a legitimate all star. It's just you got to see him on the field for a full year. But I mean, 18 jacks in 87 games, and you're like, dang, okay, like now he's got another whole year on his belt. And you saw in the playoffs last year. Came back, hit that bomb against Class A. Looked like one of the most dominant hitters in the playoffs in that stretch we saw the Tigers. Um, so I definitely think we see Kerry Carpenter hit into the 30 home run, you know, area. I think he get hit that landmark. And yeah, I'm very very high on Kerry Carpenter this year.
I love that pick once again. As Kerry Carpenter would, if he's in the box against a righty, he mashes. He doesn't do anything else besides rake. That as you said, we're going to see because of these extended injuries to the Tigers. Carpenter play a lot more against lefties, at least to begin the season. It's going to be telling how he's reacting to that as he's so far in his career been pitiful against lefties that for the most part they don't even play him against lefties. So it's going to be interesting to see how he reacts, how he's able to fare against southpaws in these games. But like you said, even if he doesn't really play against lefties, like we saw Jock Peterson with the Diamondbacks last year, didn't play against lefties, still had a 950 OPS, 20 bombs as your DH. You'll take that as your DH, especially if you're the Tigers and looking for offense.
Oh, 100%. I mean, come on. I think, yeah, I think he's me. He's like I said, I was high on the Tigers. Like they're gonna need Gary Carpenter to be the man if they want to actually win that division. So
Yeah. Now we're going to move over to the players we're lower on going into the season. And what the player that I'm probably low on is, I guess he hasn't gotten a fair chance in the MLB yet, but I don't see it. It's Jung Hoo Lee with the San Francisco Giants. Obviously, we didn't get to see much of him last year before he had that injury that took him out for the rest of the season. But what we did see from him was basically what we saw from the KBO, just a little worse, where he's a contact first hitter, doesn't have really any power at all, and can kind of slap it around a little bit. And then play a little bit, got hurt this season, come back in the spring, doesn't look great. Like it seems like his game's just not going to be able to come over as well as we've seen other hitters from the KBO or NPB.
yeah, I think like especially those guys need like transitioning, and especially like he's been hurt, so it's kind of like he hasn't been having that at all, you know. Um, so it's like he's just delaying that process, and that's not a good thing. You kind of need at bats. You need that,
Oh yeah.
and if you're not getting that, then that's a problem. That's a big problem. Um, the guy I'm not too high on this year personally, and this is like I feel like I'm like the lone guy saying this right now because he's a good player. He's a great player, and his name is Rafael Devers. Um, I'm not high on him. I'm trying to stay away from him this year. Um,
Interesting.
yes. So you look at his career; he's been a pretty consistent hitter all throughout his career. Um, but I'm going to use a reference of Frank Thomas here. When Frank Thomas moved over to DH, he was brutal his first year. There's some guys that just like Devers, like he said, he wants to play the field. Like guys, there's legitimate hitters that are like, I don't want to like DH because it just something messes with them hitting, and that happened to Frank Thomas for a year his first year with the Sox when he with DH because he was brutal on the field. When Paul Konerko came up, he had to go move over to DH, and he sucked. He was awful, and
We saw with Byron Buxton too just recently, where they're like, we love it when you play because your bat's so incredible and your defense is great too, but you're hurt too much. We're gonna try you at DH, and that made Buxton forget how to hit. Like he was healthy, he played a lot of games, but he forgot how to hit because he wasn't out playing the field. We saw him return to the field again last year, and the bat went back to what we were accustomed to seeing out of Buxton.
And yeah, like exactly. Like I don't have any statistics to point towards. Like oh yeah, like last year his numbers were like dropping or anything. It's just kind of like a hunch thing. I just think like there's not really an explanation for it. It's just some guys just need to play the field. It just helps them in their head and hitting. Um, and I'm just saying I wouldn't be shocked if Devers has a down year this year compared to years past, just because of that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand your reasoning there. It's going to be interesting to see how Devers fares becoming an everyday DH. I mean, he's so bad at defense. I don't know if it's really going to matter to him, but maybe he just needs to be bad at defense to take his mind off some of his at bats. So it's going to be interesting to see because if he has a Buxton, Frank Thomas type of reaction, it could be bad and it could be detrimental to a team that I think could be very good this year. And you also think could be very good this year. So we need to hope you're wrong with that and he transitions fine and maybe even improves because you have to worry about playing bad defense anymore.
I know, yeah, he's a selfish guy, man. He's a selfish guy.
Go out there and hit 40 bombs this year.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, how about everyone who we are high on? Prove us right. Everyone we are down on, besides Rafael Devers, Prove us wrong.
Yeah. I hope all these guys do good. I hope they all do good. Earn your money.
Oh yeah. Thank you guys all for listening to today's episode of the Untouchables podcast. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like on the video. Comment anyone you are high or low on going into the season, whether it be a team or a player. Turn on these post notifications so you never miss an upload. And share this with your friends, family, strangers, neighbors, anything like that. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all next time.
Peace.